Hey everyone, welcome to my awesome channel, Mindbang. Sorry for the dumb name. Now let's get to it. Thomas Pynchon, the Zodiac Killer conspiracy theory you didn't know you needed. Let's take a moment, shall we? Imagine this. The Zodiac Killer, that cryptic, terrifying figure from the 1960s and 70s, never caught, never fully understood, his motives a mystery, his identity a puzzle hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that the elusive author of Gravity's Rainbow and The Crying of Lot 49, Thomas Pynchon, was actually the Zodiac Killer? Yeah, I know, you're already thinking this is some conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat nonsense. But bear with me, because the pieces fit so perfectly, it's almost like the guy wanted us to figure it out. Or maybe he's been too busy crafting convoluted novels for anyone to connect the dots. Either way, buckle up. This is about to get wild. The missing years. Where was Pynchon? First of all, let's talk about Pynchon's weird, secretive existence. This is a guy who refuses to be photographed. There are maybe 4 photos of him in existence, and each one looks like it could have been snapped on a foggy day in San Francisco. Around the same time, the Zodiac Killer was at his peak. Coincidence? You decide. There's something fishy about a guy who writes about paranoia and conspiracies, but then disappears from the public eye like he's trying to avoid something. Maybe, I don't know, being questioned by police? In fact, there's a stretch of time where Pynchon went missing, allegedly off to Mexico, doing what exactly? Who knows? The timeline of Pynchon's disappearance happens to overlap with the most intense period of Zodiac's activity. And the writer, who, mind you, was in the Navy during the time the Zodiac was going full psycho, has this strange, naval vibe about him. I mean, Pynchon was in the Navy, and guess what? Navy-style footprints were found at some of the Zodiac crime scenes. Who else, exactly, has Navy-issue boots in the Bay Area in the 60s? Pynchon's accidental resemblance to the police sketches is just the cherry on top. Gravity's Rainbow, a coded confession. Now, let's dive into the deep end with Gravity's Rainbow, a book so confusing that even the most dedicated readers are like, wait, what? The plot is dense, the narrative non-linear, the characters bizarre, but as a bonus, you also get an intricate map showing the locations of V-2 rocket strikes during World War II. And guess what? The map in the book looks eerily similar to one that the Zodiac Killer mailed to the San Francisco Chronicle, the one with the locations of his murders. It's like Pynchon knew how to create a map that could have easily been ripped out of the Zodiac's own playbook. If that's not suspicious, I don't know what is. But here's the kicker. Gravity's Rainbow is often seen as Pynchon's magnum opus, his masterpiece that remains mostly unread and entirely misunderstood. It's also so long and complicated that it's nearly impossible to get through. And for good reason. Maybe, just maybe, the reason no one has cracked the book is that it's a coded confession to his crimes? I mean, is it a stretch to think that Pynchon might have hidden a dark secret within 700 pages of bombastic wordplay and paranoid, mind-bending plotting? If anyone could pull it off, it's him. The irony is, though, that no one really understands the book enough to figure out its supposed confession. Classic. Radian, Navy code breaking and the Zodiac Killer's favorite word. Remember the word radian? That's a term that Pynchon uses repeatedly in Gravity's Rainbow. Here's where it gets spicy. Radian was also used in Navy code breaking during World War II. This is the same era the Zodiac Killer was active. And if you're thinking, hold on, how many Navy cryptographers were involved in these high-profile crimes? Well, that's a thought. Could Pynchon, with his Navy experience, have been involved in something much darker than just writing eccentric novels? Could the word radian be a subtle code pointing directly to the Zodiac's cryptic messages? After all, the Zodiac Killer loved his ciphers, and Pynchon loves his codes. Dirty Harry and the Zodiac Parallel. But let's not stop there. Let's talk Dirty Harry, the 1971 movie that's basically an origin story for every gritty, morally ambiguous cop movie that followed. In Dirty Harry, the villain is named Scorpio. Sound familiar? Oh yeah, that's a direct echo of the Zodiac Killer's own Scorpio identity, which he used when taunting the police. The plot? The Zodiac-esque Scorpio threatens to kill a bus full of kids, mimicking the real Zodiac's own taunt about wanting to wipe out a school bus. And where does this all take place? San Francisco, exactly where the Zodiac Killer was active. Coincidence? I think not. Now, add this to the fact that Dirty Harry essentially tells the story of a crazed killer taunting the police with their inability to stop him, and you've got yourself a film that might as well have been the Zodiac's playbook. The Simpsons connection. Let's get even weirder. When Pynchon made his appearance on The Simpsons, he was depicted wearing a squarish hood with a question mark plastered on the forehead. Innocent enough, right? Wrong. The design of that hood looks eerily similar to the one worn by the Zodiac Killer when he attacked the couple at Lake Berryessa. A square hood, tied off at the neck, an emblem front and center. Could this have been a subtle wink to his darker, hidden persona? After all, who else could have the audacity to turn something as sinister as the Zodiac's hood into a visual gag on a cartoon? The Transcendent Killer. Finally, let's consider this. What if Gravity's Rainbow wasn't the pinnacle of Pynchon's creative output? What if he decided after penning his magnum opus that writing novels wasn't enough? Maybe Pynchon sought to transcend novel writing and become a novel in real life. What's more novel-like, after all, than assuming the persona of a cryptic, taunting, unsolvable killer who leaves behind ciphers and symbols? The Zodiac Killer might not just be a criminal, but Pynchon's ultimate work of art, a living, breathing metafiction. Pynchon's influence on the zeitgeist? Subtle, but definitely there. Conclusion: a cryptic confession in plain sight? So does this all mean that Thomas Pynchon is the Zodiac Killer? Probably not. But does it provide enough spooky connections to make you question everything you thought you knew about literary genius and psychotic killers? You bet. The Navy, the ciphers, the footprints, the map, and the uncrackable book that may or may not be a confession, it's like the universe is nudging us toward one conclusion. Pynchon's been hiding in plain sight for decades, like some sort of literary, paranoid mastermind. His cryptic novels, his bizarre behavior, the strange overlaps with Zodiac lore, perhaps they're all pieces of a puzzle that were just too bogged down by gravity to fully decode. But maybe, just maybe, the Zodiac Killer is out there, in the form of Thomas Pynchon, laughing quietly in the shadows, knowing full well that nobody's going to get through gravity's rainbow in time to find his confession. Because, let's be real, no one's finishing it anyway. Okay, after that, mind bang, we need something a little lighter. See how I branded? I'm branding, everyone. I'm doing the thing. Dogs may be man's best friend, but cats saved humanity, at least twice. Throughout history, cats have quietly but profoundly shaped human civilization, influencing agriculture, preventing disease, and even saving humanity from extinction. While dogs might be the favored companions in many households, it's the feline companions that saved us from ruin at least twice. Once during the rise of farming and once during the Black Plague. Cats and the birth of agriculture. In the early days of farming, before the rise of cities and modern technology, humans were at the mercy of the elements, and more critically, at the mercy of vermin. Crops, the lifeblood of early civilization, were constantly under threat from rodents, insects, and other pests that destroyed food stores. Without adequate protection, entire harvests could be wiped out, leaving communities on the brink of starvation. Enter the cat. With instincts finely honed for hunting, cats became invaluable allies to early farmers. They didn't need a paycheck or a place to stay. They simply hunted and kept the rodent populations at bay. As a result, cats helped ensure that grain stores remained intact, preventing crops from being overrun by pests. Without cats, early agriculture would have been far more difficult, and without the stability of agriculture, there would have been no time for artistic pursuits, specialization, or the development of early civilizations. It was the cat's silent and unsung efforts that allowed grain to be stored safely, allowing humans to stockpile food and plan for the future. Thanks to these stealthy predators, people had the time and resources to build cities, develop technologies, and create art. They were integral to the rise of agriculture, and by extension, the foundation of human civilization. The witch hunts, the Inquisition, and the plague. However, despite their vital role in maintaining order in our agricultural world, cats have also been demonized at various points in history. In the medieval period, particularly during the height of the witch hunts and the Spanish Inquisition, the cat found itself under suspicion, especially the black cat. In the early 1200s, Pope Gregory IX issued a decree, Vox in Rama, declaring that black cats were the familiars of witches and tools of Satan. His influence spread, and before long, many believed that killing cats would rid the world of evil. The result was a systematic slaughter of felines across Europe. But this destruction of the cat population did more than just eliminate a symbol of superstition. It removed a vital element from human society. With the absence of cats, rodents thrived, and with them, so did the fleas that carried the deadly bacteria Yersinia pestis, the cause of the Black Death. The Black Plague, which swept across Europe beginning in 1346, wiped out an estimated 25 to 30 million people, roughly a third of the population. It spread quickly, helped along by the overwhelming rat population, which was now unchecked by cats. While the true cause of the plague was not understood at the time, the correlation between the explosion of rats and the spread of disease became clear only too late. Without cats to control the rodents, Europe's cities became breeding grounds for the fleas that spread the disease. Cats, the unsung heroes. Looking back, it's easy to see how critical the role of cats was in saving humanity. Not once, but twice. If they had not been there to keep rodents at bay, early civilizations might have collapsed, and the great leaps forward in agriculture, technology, and culture would have been impossible. And during the time of the Black Death, their absence allowed rats to flourish, ultimately causing one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. Today, cats are still admired for their companionship, their independence, and their grace. But we should also remember that, in addition to their role as loyal pets and mystic symbols, they have served as humanity's silent protectors, guardians of food supplies, and keepers of the balance that has allowed us to thrive. So the next time you see a cat lounging in the sun or chasing after a mouse, remember, dogs may be man's best friend, but cats saved all of human society, at least twice. Can old Fido say that? I think not. Bam, that's it. Another mind bang in the can, or in the something. What is the internet anyway? If you liked what you heard, smash that like button like a baby Hulk and subscribe like a rabid paperboy, or something. Thanks for listening to my channel.